Today on the Topping Show, Omar Fateh waves a Somalian flag at his rally for mayor of Minneapolis, Minnesota. Toyota confirms their new V8 engine. A 44-year-old man goes viral for allegedly taking pictures of women in the women's locker room at Planet Fitness. And HEB bracelets get recalled. All of that and much more on the Topping Show. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of the Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added research and services company with a special proficiency IT security. Heck, I see they're found at least twice a day. Guys say he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, you see, that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or a business owner, you can reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, still giving away a free Flamethrower with every IT purchase with Picatinny rail adapter, so you can mount it to any standard AR-15 like all awesome accessories can be. Go to toppingtechnologies.com and click the Flamethrower button to learn more and see me shooting a flamethrower. And lastly, trying to get 6,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you can click that button and tell your friends and your enemies, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, going over to the business part of the podcast, you have Toyota confirming a new V8 engine, but they're going to use it in some cases in a hybrid, so yes, that's very disappointing. Now, Spark Toys, thanks to Motor1.com, where I don't need to give you a visual disclaimer because while the powertrain is surely disappointing, the vehicle actually looks quite good. Now, that's credited specifically to Adrian Pradiano, who's a rater over there. And they say, quote, Toyota finally confirms a new V8 engine. The automaker's head of powertrains hints that Lexus will also use it, which, of course, Lexus is the luxury division or brand of Toyota, just like how Honda is Acura, General Motors is Cadillac, and Nissan, well, they have Infiniti, but only 3 people buy those cars these days anyway. And again, here you can see a nice little Lexus sports car right there. But apparently it has a hybrid powertrain. Disappointing everyone who would have bought it, except for 13 people who want that. So sad. Such a beautiful design. And they go, yeah, we're going to have a hybrid. Probably going to be automatic only. A soulless. Well, why would you do that to me, Toyota? You make such a beautiful machine. It looks amazing. Granted, outside my preference range. But again, if I had the bankroll for a luxury vehicle like that, I would run at least a V8 with a stick shift, if not a V10, which was in their former supercar, the LFA, which, well, that sounded amazing, had a very boring powertrain, or it had the automatic transmission, which is obviously an abomination. Now, diving into the article, Adrian says, quote, we've spoken at great length about Toyota's new, smaller, lighter, 4-cylinder engines that will power near everything. However, there's a little information regarding a large displacement ICE designed specifically for the company's new flagship performance vehicle. The GR Badge supercar is set to premiere in early December, and yes, it will have a V8 engine. In an interview at an ongoing 2025 Japan Mobility Show, Toyota's powertrain president, Takashi Yubara, confirmed the juicy rumors about a twin-turbo V8. He explained that the foundation for the new 8-cylinder setup lies within the company's upcoming family of modular gasoline engines consisting of the 1.5 and 2-liter units. In the mid-engine GR Yaris M concept, the 2-liter G20E has a target output exceeding 400 horsepower, which that'd be awesome. He also said that the new V8 is widely speaking related to the 4-cylinder engine mounted behind the hot hatches seats. The V8 will deliver significantly more power, not only because it has 4 extra cylinders and a second turbo, which here you can see the rear of the vehicle right there. Which again, there's some cars where they have a futuristic design where I kind of dig. And again, having a coupe in general is getting rarer and rarer these days. If you're not watching on the Rumble or YouTube, you're missing out. And I mean, especially because, again, there's a nice big picture of the car on the screen, not seeing my face for the most part necessarily. And now, again, they say, quote, the man in charge of engines at Toyota also confirmed another part of the rumors surrounding the GT3-derived supercar. The ICE will be part of a hybrid powertrain. Again, disappointing pretty much everyone. I understand the logic of why Toyota is doing this. That is one of the fastest growing categories for vehicles in the industry. Toyota read the room right. Everyone else is going all in on EVs. Toyota invested heavily. You're talking like $7 billion into hybrids the past 48 months. They read the room properly. However, for a hypercar, for a supercar, even the Porsche Spider, I think, is boring as in the 90s. Even the new Porsche supercar thing is an abomination. You're going to get a supercar, you get the Porsche Carrera GT that a V10 and stick shift, but again, I digress, I apologize. Now, he says, quote, he clarified that the performance machine will not be a plug-in hybrid. So I guess it's not as bad as it could be. I mean, that would have made it even more laughable, which I didn't think was possible. Now, I continue the quote, saying, quote, he further hinted that Lexus will use the electrified V8 in a production version of the sports concept shown here, which, as we recently learned, is indeed a hybrid. Which is one of those things where I cannot, if I'm privileged to the point where I have luxury to piss away money on project vehicles, again, this body, not mine, obviously, I'm pointing at the car. Imagine that Lexus body kit. Just strip out the drivetrain, obviously. Put a nice V10 with a stick shift in there. It'd be an abomination to put, like a Dodge Viper engine in there, but give it something worth aspiring for. Again, I know I'm in the minority, but no one dreams of owning a hybrid. But again, I digress. They say, quote, when asked whether Toyota's luxury division will have access to the new engine, Uhara essentially confirmed it. He said, quote, you can expect to see the Lexus new sports car. That is it. He also hinted that engineers are tuning the V8 differently for Lexus compared to the Toyota's GR flagship. He also said maybe we could have a V8 with a more gentle character, or we could have more with a more muscular, heavy-duty version. We suspect Lexus will get the gentle version while Toyota will employ the heavy-duty configuration, especially in the GT3 race car. It makes sense for the V8 to power more than one such vehicle. Developing a new engine from scratch for a single low-volume model would be difficult to justify financially, which, yeah. Although Halo cars do, I would argue, drive not just brand awareness, but sales and passion for the brands as well. But nevertheless, they say a racing counterpart helps make the investment viable, while a street-legal Lexus derivative improves economies of scale. Toyota isn't the only automaker investing in a new V8. AMG has one in development, and his parent company Mercedes even remains committed to the venerable V12, which, thank God. There's something magical about having 12 cylinders of glory, though nothing beats a BMW-powered McLaren F1 V12 with a stick shift. I mean, you can't even say McLaren F1 without smiling. It is the dream car for all guys. They say, meanwhile, BMW has already confirmed it's tweaking the V8 to meet upcoming bullcrap totalitarian emission standards. Oh, okay, I added a couple of words there, I'll be honest. They say ensuring its mid-survival. The Porsche of the Volkswagen Group also intends to keep V8s alive well into the 2030s, so yes, the V8 isn't going anywhere. Which, yeah, and now half the comments are saying put it back in the damn truck, which, yeah, it'd be nice to have that nice, I mean, the previous generation Tundra had, I think, one minor issue with the V8, but yeah, you see a lot of those old, big old Toyota Tundras. The ones with the V8s, they can get a lot of miles on them and keep going a while. It is kind of disappointing that, yeah, the, full-size truck from Toyota has V6. I understand the Tacoma has that. That's just a little itsy-bitsy truck, relatively speaking. And it's stick shift, so it makes me smile. But yeah, so disappointing that they couldn't just give us a pure driving experience, which, again, I understand from a regulatory perspective, it's more difficult to justify that, more difficult to sell. There's even fines and fees depending on where you are in the globe, depending on what type of emissions you have from the vehicle. But again, this can be a low volume unit. It, to me, just is so disappointing. And again, that's the concept being shown. But why not just give us something crazy? The LFA I was so disappointed they had only 2 pedals. It sounds amazing thanks to the engineering with Yamaha collaboration that they had. Again, the LFA is a work of art on wheels. But it was disappointing to have that clunky, soulless, in my opinion, automatic transmission. But again, it's nice that they're making a new V8. And again, there's rumors, and I think they confirmed that the Supra will have a V8, and that will. I was about to say they won't make that hybrid, but who the hell knows these days? They should at least offer a gasoline version. But let me know your thoughts, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Going over to the cultural part of the podcast, you have a man going viral for allegedly taking pictures of women in the locker room at Planet Fitness. Now, this brought to us thanks to Libs at TikTok. And she says, quote, oh my God, my God, this guy's worse. His name is worse than mine, which is saying something. My name's Topping. And she says, oh my God, Tusha Kandai Tadi? That's a ridiculous name. Almost as ridiculous as a name like Topping. Nevertheless, I made that joke already. So, again, oh my God, Tushakade Tati, a 44-year-old man, was arrested at Planet Fitness in Maryland after he was allegedly caught disguising himself as a woman to invade the female bathroom and record women. He reportedly took videos of women while they were in the shower. Tati has been charged with multiple counts of peeping Tom and other offenses. Planet Fitness allows men pretending to be women to use the women's locker rooms. Insanity. Which, here you can see him. Ugh. He put on a wig. Talk about, not to brag, but my legs are more muscular than that guy. Jeez, hit the gym. Oh, wait, he tried, but he was only doing it to be a depraved pervert. And again, I never want to victim blame, necessarily. However, why are you still going to Planet Fitness, man? I should say women. You know their policy. It went viral, I believe, about 16 months ago. And it's rough because pretty much every major gym chain has the same policy of allowing biological men into the women's washrooms or locker rooms. So you know there's going to be guys there in many cases. Now, again, he is getting arrested. You know, he's in trouble for taking pictures, which is a whole additional offense, morally as illegally. But it's one of those things where just work out at home, man. You can get in exceptional shape with calisthenics or, just using your own body weight, chin-ups, push-ups. Especially chin-ups and pull-ups are really exceptional exercise. If you get one of those cheap over-the-door little pull-up bars, that's a great way to get in shape. Running, depending on where you live, more viable than not, or, sometimes easier, sometimes not. But again, we know these places, LA Fitness is so proud that they actually paid for real placards, like not like a 3 to 6 cent piece of printer paper that they printed and said, oh yeah, men can go in here. They paid for a color placard. Granted, it's plastic, but that's a sizable investment compared to, again, paper, especially when it adds up in the aggregate with all the locations. LA Fitness has that placard on all the store or all the gyms saying, oh yeah, we allow men to go to females' washrooms and locker rooms. And again, bad things inevitably are happening. I cannot emphasize it enough. If you can work out at home or find an alternative, do it. Again, it's difficult because it's a very cutthroat industry. That's why there's not a lot of startups for these mass type of gym environments. There's only like 3 to 4. You got Gold's Gym, Planet Fitness, LA Fitness. There's not a lot of them, and they make most of their money in January, and they usually bleed the rest of the year. It's a very difficult industry. So again, there's not a lot of competition. There's not a lot of other options. Hopefully, if you have a mom and pop shop, in your area, that'd be a great alternative. Again, it's getting ridiculous. And God, yeah, what do you think the penalty should be? This piece of shit. Put him in jail for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. Maybe some type of humiliation ritual to, eye for an eye type of situation. But again, this isn't innocent. This is a piece of shit. Why are we allowing this to happen? Again, this is a private company. They have their own policy and they roll out to all the stores. Now, again, the legality in terms of how the law can go after him from a state perspective. Again, they're taking the pictures and all that kind of stuff. Hopefully, they prosecute him and throw him away for maybe a couple of decades. Again, it's getting ridiculous. And again, she highlighted a section of the Planet Fitness manual, and it says Planet Fitness Member Gender Identity Non-Discrimination Policy, which is a very long, clunky title. Though perhaps not as long and clunky as the Topping Show, which, yeah, I understand. Hindsight, maybe we should have called it something else. But nevertheless, she highlighted a section as subsection 4 says, quote, subject to section 3 above, all members and team members may use Planet Fitness locker rooms or facilities and programs based on their self-reported gender identity. These facilities include bathrooms, showers, and all other facilities separated by sex. Again, that is in the manual at Planet Fitness, which I do wonder how many employees actually read the manual, but nevertheless, it's their official store policy across America. As if you need yet another reason to use a rudimentary gym where you can't even make noises or work too hard, otherwise they sound an alarm. And they keep you fat with sweets and pizza. I am a big fan of exercise. I exercise religiously every single day of the week. And it's a thing where any exercise I applaud. And I want everyone in the U.S. to get a lot healthier. There's something sad about gym that encourages you just like to eat that crap. And again, part of his marketing is unusual for sure. But they say, oh yeah, you deserve a treat. I debate how many people, again, you have to work out like just 1 mile run. It's only about 100 calories. And you have to work out a fair amount to justify a slice of pizza or donuts or the crap they give away. Now, this went pretty viral. It got about 221,000 views. Was 224,000 views and 7,000 likes. But the first comments comes to us thanks to, well, not the most liked comment, but the most handsome one, perhaps. The Topping Show, I say, quote, yet another reason not to patron leftist businesses, getting 5 likes. The conservative alternative is the actual one that get the most likes. Says, quote, the trans movement did more to empower perverts than it did to empower actual trans people. A simple cost-benefit analysis would suggest that it hasn't been worth the sacrifice, getting 116 likes. Yep. Amelia has a picture of Mel Gibson and says, say it with me. Can I do a Mel Gibson impression? Probably, but not well. I shall try. Say it. No, I was trying to think of his voice. Say it with me every single time. Yes, the attempt was made. It wasn't a good attempt at all. It's probably the worst Mel Gibson impression of the year. But nevertheless, you heard it here. That got 33 likes. Zupa says, quote, so that gets arrested, but no other men who pretend to be women use women's locker rooms and take photos, question mark, and 37 likes, which unfortunately I think many of them do. They are just not getting caught. Man has a picture of Willy Wonka says, things that never happen again, getting 36 likes. The Immortal has a famous quote from Jasmine Crockett saying, just because someone has committed a crime doesn't make them a criminal. Getting 89 likes, though, again, with her vernacular in my head, I heard it grammatically incorrect, which again is kind of interesting and ironic how I forget what the pejorative term is for politics, but again, winding back the clock before she was so mainstream, she spoke exceptionally articulately, much more than I. Granted, that's not saying much, but yeah, she's definitely changed her vernacular in the past couple of years for political reasons. And that got 89 likes. Ice has a picture of a men's and women's locker room cartoon. It has a gal standing in front of the women's locker room with a broom. She says, go, 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 shoo. She's shooing away all the leftist NPC guys, getting 112 likes. Piece also has a reverse Jenga thing, where at the very bottom you have one Jenga piece that says, asking what is a woman. The entire top is the entire trans movement, getting 71 likes. Mirthful Moments also has a picture of a gal or a little girl holding up a sign, and the sign's been altered to say, quote, remember Mother's Day is for moms, not men in dresses. Your day is April 1st, getting 26 likes. I Love American News says this is what Democrats support. It's a cartoon of a fat, obese man in a bikini in a women's locker room, and they all look terrified. And the guy says, don't stop undressing. That's transphobic, getting 183 likes. So, also kind of ironic in terms of realism for the cartoon here. The women in the cartoon look mostly scared and offended. In real life, you look at who's supporting these trans ideologies and these policies, it's mostly liberal white women from 18 to 40, or actually no. The No Kings movement had mostly ladies in their 70s without, it was kind of sad their cats were left at home, presumably alone. But nevertheless, it was a liberal white women. That's who supports most of these policies. So if anything, to make the cartoon more realistic, the gals would actually be applauding him and say, we believe in you, all that kind of crap. That did get 183 likes for that cartoon. We have the Immortal with the famous meme from Jaws. He says, we're going to need a bigger. Let's have boat. He says, mental institution, getting 33 likes. East also has the famous Simpsons meme where you have Homer driving by the car. Homer goes, I'm a trans woman. And then you have Larry and Carl and goes, what do you say? Carl goes, something about not being able to compete with men, getting 60 likes. Hey, Gene Robinson says, quote, that's rude to say he was disguising himself as a woman. Wait, is that a contrarian statement brewing to the surface? Again, he says, quote, that's rude to say he was disguising himself as a woman. Isn't that what trans people do? 110 likes? And a lot of people are just saying, yeah, thanks, Captain Obvious. A lot more memes saying, no men in women's locker rooms. There's another famous individual. This was from Oil London in March of 2024. Oil London says, quote, Planet Fitness lost $400 million in company value in just 5 days, all because they defended the decision to allow this man in a women's locker room. The fitness company has sparked massive backlash after they canceled the membership of a woman who complained about him. Which, yeah, you see a guy in the gal's locker room dressing up as a girl and changing, getting 105 likes. That being said, in terms of, not being stuck in an echo chamber and looking at things more statistically and more analytically, again, single variable analysis, I'm always very skeptical when it comes to stock valuations. And again, when you zoom out, the stock out, actually, let me pull it up right now, look at Planet Fitness stock. It did have a short impact, but it's kind of like Netflix. You saw this with the controversy of Netflix where they keep posting trans stuff for kids. It will affect it. It seems to have my ADHD. I was just about to brave search the Netflix stock. Let me say it, Planet Fitness. It's one of those things where most of the time it does correlate with industry trends. I should say a fair amount of time, and it usually does recover. And some industries like fitness and like the fitness industry is struggling. It looks like year to date. Well, let's zoom out even more. So in 1 year. Because again, that was fit. Yeah, so it's been over a year since that happened. In the past year, it's gone up 14.62%. Currently trading for $89.98 per share. Year to date, they're down 9.65%. But again, I suspect, as they do every year, they'll have a bump in January and December when a lot of people will buy gym memberships. That's an overwhelming majority of where their sales come from. 5 years, they're still up 51.81%. I mean, more recently, past couple, last week it went down. But again, a lot of them are correlating with a couple of their financial results, earnings per share. Let's see. So again, I do think it's impacting the stock a little bit. But again, that industry in particular, also has a lot of negative things going for it, just because a lot of people are working out at home. It's very cyclical or very seasonal business is what I'm trying to say. But I do agree it has some impact on the stock. Going down more and more. See, there's any contrarian policies here. Not so much. Dave Amerikson says, quote, all bro had to do was say he identified as a woman and they would have kicked out all the people who reported it. 19 likes. Given to Cherry says, wait, if Planet Fitness allows pretend women, does that mean he would not have been arrested if he simply watched women in the shower without recording? Yes, that's exactly what it means. I got 12 likes. Let's make it 13. Yeah, that is it. Oh, 16 going up like a good stock. Not Planet Fitness stock these days. But it's an instance where, yeah, that is and again, it's their private business. And they can do what they want. And again, this is also a state-by-state thing versus a federal thing. It's crazy to think that, yeah, bathrooms have become controversial in the United States with probably 40% of the people thinking, oh, yeah, it's a good idea to have men and women's locker rooms. Let's see. Yeah, so I'm well, one more. Junita Broderick says, good grief, perverse everywhere, getting 220 likes, which, yeah. I can't believe the average person probably doesn't like this, though. And we'll see. And a lot of people are saying, I hope they go bankrupt. Again, the market cap is, let me look at earnings really quick, or the last fiscal earnings. Now I'm just kind of curious. I'm sorry. The ADHD or the OCD is up in arms. Again, they've been growing consistently. Revenue in 2023 was $1 billion. 2024 was $1.1 billion. They're usually going up about 100. The big jump was from 2021 to 2022. But past 3 years, again, we're still waiting on the recent results. But zoomed out, yeah, the numbers are not bad. So I'm pretty skeptical. I don't think they'll go bankrupt, especially when, again, in your small town, depending on where you live, that might be the only option. But let me know your thoughts, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the political part of the podcast, you have Omar Fateh waving the Somalian flag, speaking a foreign language while playing terrible music as he tries to become mayor of Minneapolis, or as we call it modernly, Little Somalia. Now, this broadcast thanks to End Wokeness, and he says, quote, Omar Fateh waves foreign flag, speaks foreign language, pledges his loyalty to Somalia, tells Somalians to elect him. This is a rally in Minneapolis, which, remind you, is such a weak, conquered, pathetic state. They redesigned their whole flag to look like a butchered flag of Somalia. That's how weak and pathetic and conquered they have become. So he's wearing a suit. He did one thing right, low bar. Then he also has a scarf. I'm sure there's a ceremonial thing around his one shoulder. But perhaps he'll give us some very articulate reasons of why you should have a foreign flag like this. Obviously not, but let's hear what Omar Fateh has to say. We conquered.
Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Somalia. Hiran State. Mawisle. Early voting was hadda illa November 4. I need your vote. I need you. Hadan Udkina, hello. We're gonna win.
Given the demographic shifting of Somalia, Minneapolis, I forget to get too mixed up. There's a high propensity he will win. A lot of people don't realize, yeah, there's 60,000 people imported into Minneapolis who are from Somalia. There's quite a few of them over there. And again, why is he waving a foreign country's flag? Again, my family came from Cuba legally, and believe it or not, got here on an aeroplane. One of the last ones when Fidel took over. Didn't swim here, which is good because I can't swim worth a damn. Granted, it's my mom. But yeah, it's an instance where, yeah, that was back when Americans assimilated, or immigrants assimilated. We've seen a huge cultural shift, I would argue, the past 30 years especially, in part because the U.S. just seems to give away free handouts to everyone except taxpayers, so it's even more incentive for people to come here. But yeah, back in the day, again, you could debate that they didn't learn. My family learned English exceptionally well. You could maybe joke and think, oh, well, if I speak so poorly. No, but they speak great and articulate perfectly. It's quite impressive. Me, I can't speak too well. That's why I always tell you, click that subscribe button. When I first started the show, barely anyone had tuned in. Maybe like 2 or 3 family members. I had 2 subscribers. And I spoke faster than Ben Shapiro and more awkwardly than Joe Biden trying to climb upstairs. And starting worse than him. But as I slowly but surely gain subscribers, I've been slightly better at speaking. Some might say I still am terrible, though I would argue, statistically speaking, slightly better at speaking because I got more subscribers, feeling to my theory. More people that click that button, the better I'll get at speaking. Someday make it through entire episodes speaking perfectly and articulately. Then click that button, tell your friends and your enemies. I greatly appreciate it. Your enemies might be so enamored and impressed by your choice in podcast material that they then become your friends. Or they find me so visually and visceral disgusting that they hate you even more and it becomes a physical altercation if you suggest the material to them. So maybe you shouldn't. Although it would make for an interesting story. Though legally I maybe don't recommend it. In all seriousness, it makes for a funny story. Why the hell not? But it's an instance where no one in my family waves the Cuban flag. It's a weak, conquered, pathetic, terrible country. Fidel's destroyed it. Communism destroyed it. It's disgusting. That's why we wave the American flag. Or if you're like me, also the Texas flag, because Texas is awesome. It's an instance where we assimilated. We believe in what the founding fathers' ideals were. I gotta think most people who come to the country, and even most Americans these days, can't even espouse the ideals of the founding fathers. Which again was a bedrock, the foundation that built the greatest country on the planet. And he has a Somalian flag. You have Somalian people in DC saying, oh yeah, I forget her name. It wasn't the gal that married her brother, but there's another Somalian where they said, oh yeah, we're going to help our homies out back in Somalia. I don't think they used the word homies. I think that was used mainly in the 90s. But nevertheless, why are you pledging allegiance to another country? I don't think any politician, left or right, should be able to have dual citizenship as well. Debatably another topic for another day, perhaps. But yeah, and he's speaking a foreign language, and he's waving a foreign flag. And call me crazy, but is that flag in the background bigger than the American flag? I mean, they're just importing voters. And is this going to make Minneapolis better? No, obviously not. And I think that's one of the reasons it's been viral. I got 8.7 million views as well as 61,000 likes. One of the first comments comes to us thanks to X Van Fleet, is a famous individual who escaped communism China. He says, quote, this should disqualify him immediately, getting 793 likes. I agree. The conservative alternative says, quote, remember when all of our politicians claimed we were fighting them over there so we don't have to fight them over here? I guess it was just one big lie, huh? He has a picture of I forget the meme of the guy, but it says the Gulf Wars, we're fighting them over there so we don't have to fight them here. He has Zoran and Omar pictured there, getting 927 likes. Gunther Eagleman says, quote, he should be deported, getting 2.1 thousand likes. Valentina Gomez says, quote, these Muslims will rape us into submission. It's exactly what's coming to Texas, getting 1.4 thousand likes. Got 65 comments. Was she affirmed or ratioed? No, pretty much everyone is agreeing with her. Let's see here. But again, she's running for political office in Texas. She never actually breaks down how she would do that, legally speaking. Again, I think Sharia law is an antithesis of the founding fathers stood for. I do wonder, though, again, if they come here legally, which again, some of them are coming here legally through the immigration process, and they're getting their citizenship. If you have that, I mean, you can't really deport them. So she's very bombastic in her statement. She's getting a lot of support. And I agree in that I don't think Sharia law should be nowhere near the United States. But what legal mechanism or what action that's one of the reasons I like Vivek. He always gives you a plan of his ideas of how they would get accomplished. Her, not so much yet. David Santa Clara says, quote, why is this person in my country getting 721 likes? Which, I don't know. Did you hear it with a southern accent? I'm from Texas. Maybe it's just the default. But he's like, well, why is this person in my country getting 721 likes? Not me, but Gunther Eagleman. Amelia Henderson simply says, just send him back. And she has a picture that says, is it too soon, or can we start talking about deporting Obama's Somalians, getting 967 likes? Amelia Henderson also says, Islam is not compatible. She has a screenshot of a quote from Charlie Kirk, who says, quote, Islam is not compatible with Western civilization. And Charlie Kirk got 67 million views for that tweet on June 1st, 2025. He got 568 likes. Well, like a good stock. Paul Zazupa says, quote, Minneapolis is a preview of what New York City will become, getting 397 likes, which not the New York City one is actually before that, but nevertheless, I understand what his point is. Thick Eggshell says people who don't show allegiance only to America shouldn't be allowed in politics. 15 likes, including one from me. Spitfire says, quote, I just don't know what to say anymore, getting 419. Let's make it 420 likes. 26 likes, going up like a stock. Which, yeah. Liberty Pill Memes says, it's fine. You have a little dog from the May, and the dog is labeled Minneapolis. Says, this is fine. It's okay. But it's, not so much. Going down more and more. You have MAGA Kitty saying deport, 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 getting 37 likes. Trump Tracker, finally, and again, I follow him because I want some contrarian statements. Life gets a little bit boring in echo chamber. And he says, quote, cope, you can leave whenever you want, getting 107 likes. One of the first comments comes to us thanks to Outdoor Wisconsin, which unfortunately he did not get ratio by number of likes. And cover your ears if you're unsure of listening, because I'm going to read the meme or meme as is from Smokey the Bear, since I think I could do a moderately good Smokey the Bear impression. But I'll let you be the judge, of course. He says, remember, only you can go fuck yourself. Which, I mean, that might, that's better than my Mel Gibson impression, but that bar is pretty damn low. You also have Let's Be Friends, the picture of a toad, or frog, I mean. He says, quote, why do you want some foreign dipshit who literally waves a foreign flag in your face to have power over here? Leftists are functionally retarded. Getting 48 likes, which, yeah, fact check, community knows true. Going back to the main comments section, Libercat Media TM says, quote, oh, who else is fed up with seeing foreigners who hate America try to turn America into the very shitholes they fled? Go on, Minneapolis, like this piece of shit. Don't come here crying for help when you're sinking, because you won't get any closer than the middle finger from us, getting 187 likes. Well, the issue is, I mean, they're just going to keep importing more. I mean, again, they're importing them, especially into New York City and Minneapolis. But it's happening all over the U.S. Eventually, there'll be nowhere else left to run. That's right. I'm always very skeptical when someone says, why do you care what happens in California, or some people call it California? Well, one, it's one of the largest selling markets on the planet. It has great influence on products and policies in a myriad of industries. But it's because, again, a lot of politics, political philosophies that are implemented in the European Union, then they spread like a virus to California, then usually to Illinois and New York. It kind of just spreads across the U.S. thanks to, I would argue, corrupt and or moronic or stupid rhinos, pejoratively known as Republicans in name only, who say, oh yeah, we'll do that with free Democrats. We'll keep giving you stuff, and we'll do something for our constituents someday, in theory. We also have mirthful moments. It's a picture of Ilhan Omar. Interesting enough, not a picture with her husband and her brother. She says, again, it's a made-up meme, says, in my country, I am forced to keep my mouth shut. But here am I free to talk trash about this country in hopes that I can change it to a country where I'm forced to keep my mouth shut. Getting 2.9 thousand likes. Now, let's see here. Here's the original beautiful flag of Minnesota. Justin Grage says, we're taking it back. Getting 1.1 thousand likes. I'm sure if Trump were to look at these flags, he'd say, God, the new flag of Somalia. I mean, Minneapolis, it's hard to tell the difference. They look so similar. I mean, the flag of Somalia, flag of Minneapolis, I'm sorry, Minnesota. The new one looks so terrible. Tim Walz is a moron. He had it in his background in so many of his videos. It looks so stupid and large. Look at this, the old flag was so much better. It was ornate. It was beautiful. It was a work of art. But now, a weak, pathetic conquer in Minneapolis and Minnesota has become pathetic with a new flag as boring and lame, as stupid as Tim Walz. I mean, I don't think Trump says that precisely, but probably something to that effect. And again, the original flag was a work of art. The new one is, I mean, it looks like a kid did it looks like someone took a flag from Somalia, put in the photocopier a couple times, and got degraded worse and worse and worse every time because you make a copy of copy, and that's how I got the new flag of Minnesota. Now, in terms of the demographic shifts, and what is, why are we seeing so many of this? Well, look in Minneapolis, total population about 425,000, and let me see here, Minneapolis, where did it go? Volume population, it's been 63,000 and growing. Well, and U.S. Census, 86,000 I think is the top metric they've heard or seen thus far. And again, this is just me asking Grok for the AI image, but again, that's one of the reasons he's becoming more and more popular. I mean, one of the reasons Zoran be taken away in New York shitty. You look at who is supporting him. The biggest percentage of immigrants are for him. And again, so they're playing to their new base. And it'll be interesting to see how this spreads across the United States. What is going to be the result? Will they be primary? I'm pretty skeptical. Great things will happen soon, but let me know your thoughts, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Going over to the business blunder of the day of H-E-B recalling their bracelets because they might break and irritate your skin. Which, yeah, they made bracelets. It's they're a great Texas-based store, or Texas headquartered grocery store. Though they are a pretty penny. They're very much a pinky high premium place to shop. And this brought to us thanks to the United States Consumer Product Safety Commission, perhaps the only useful government website, though granted it's a pretty low bar. And they say, quote, HEB recalls 12-pack Destination Holiday Glow Stick light bracelets due to skin irritation hazard, which, yeah, that product name is long and awkward and cumbersome as my show name, which, yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. Now, they note that, quote, the green glow stick bracelet within the 12-pack container can leak and pose a skin irritation hazard, affecting 6,000 units, which, yeah, again, HEB obviously doesn't make any of these things. It's one of those OEM things. It's convenient for the consumers. And they say there's furniture received one report of a green bracelet leaking, but thankfully no injuries have been reported. And they note that the consumer should not use a green bracelet sold in the 12-pack of bracelets and return the bracelet or container to HEB to receive a full refund. Now, the crazy thing is the price point. I usually make fun of these recalls, but like, you spend so much money, like $36,000 on a fancy go-kart from Polaris. I know it's an off-road machine, yada yada, but like a couple Honda Civics. Surprisingly, these are sold from September 2025 to October 25 for about $1. So I was going to say, in terms of the recall, no one's going to take the time to take these back to the store because your time is worth something. They're manufactured, of course, in China, as many of these little fashion accessories are. And again, it's good that they're getting out of the situation. Again, there's not going to be, I was about to say no adults wear these. With the exception of people who go to concerts and take the promiscuous or copious amounts of drugs, no adults are going to be taking this product. So again, I'll make sure you're especially careful handling recalls that affect children. So good that no one's hurt from this. It just had one incident of breaking. So to HEB's credit, it's good that they got ahead of the situation. But again, to have a recall of your products in stores, gotta say, HEB, you are certainly the business blunder of the day. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Again, try to get 6,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So click that button, greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, and comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback. Let me know how to make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, anyone, everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.